Are you really breathing or just surviving? Stress, pollution, lifestyle. Your lungs take it all. Remember, breathing is automatic. Healthy lungs are not. Let's try and see what is a lung disease. Don't wait for breathlessness to eventually take it seriously. Namaste, I am Dr. Manaan Gandhi and today we are going to discuss lung diseases. But we are specifically going to avoid asthma as we've already discussed asthma at length in our other video that is going to be linked here.
What is lung disease?
Lung diseases are essentially diseases that disallow the normal functioning of the lungs. The functioning of the lungs is to intake air, try and oxidize the blood and remove the carbon dioxide and other excretory products through air.
Why is lung disease increasing these days?
Lung issues are increasing nowadays due to excessive pollution, really bad lifestyle and stress. People are not taking care of things that should have just been taken care of. People are waking up at any given point in time, sleeping extremely late into the night, smoking, and whether it's active or whether it's passive, because the pollution, the amount of dust, the amount of construction that is happening, all of these things are not normal.
What are the early indicators of lung disease?
So if you feel that there is breathlessness when you're climbing, maybe you might pant a little too soon. These could be issues that you have a lung problem. Maybe you're just tired very, very quickly and your respiratory stamina seems to be low despite you being active and exercising. This could also mean that you have a lung problem.
Fatigue and low stamina, are they linked to lung disease?
Fatigue, low stamina definitely is related to the lungs because your respiratory stamina is extremely important. Today, if you want to exercise or do any sort of physically intense activities, if your lungs are not able to keep up, you essentially cannot do them.
Which doshas, according to Ayurveda, impact the lungs?
Lungs, according to Ayurveda, is majoritarily a kapha organ, but when vata starts entering the lungs, it can start drying up the kapha. In fact, even worse, it can start throwing the kapha upwards and start removing the kapha and start sitting in the lungs, causing excessive dryness and multiple diseases. So you have to be very, very careful when it comes to lung diseases of which dosha is increased.
Is there an association between digestion and lung disease?
Most lung diseases, according to Ayurveda, start from the stomach. You heard it right, they start from the stomach. In Ayurveda, there is a shlok that explains this. Adaha pratihator vayu urdhva srotas samashritah, which means that when there is any obstruction of movement of intestines, this movement starts getting, it's called peristalsis. So when it gets obstructed, it starts moving upward direction. And that starts dislocating the kapha from the lungs, drying the lungs, getting vata there and causing lung diseases. So you could have people who are suffering from a lot of cough, right? And that cough sounds like bronze rubbing on each other. So in Ayurveda we call it kansanat kasa uchyate, which means it like it just sounds as if there's bronze being rubbed. This is also a lung problem. You could also have people with constantly upper respiratory tract infections like sinuses because of the kapha from the lungs being pushed upwards. You could suffer from dry lungs where you need a pump or you need nebulization in order for your lungs to expand because they've been dried up due to the stomach. So there is an extremely huge connection between the stomach and the lungs.
What foods and habits are bad for your health?
So a lot of food can really worsen your lung condition, especially when you have a lot of cold drinks or when you have things that are really cold in terms of temperature or in terms of potency. So you avoid curds, avoid dairy, avoid these ruafzas, thanda, ice-based drinks. All of these things can really have a very, very negative impact. Things like golas, a lot of kids these days, they really love their ice golas or those ice shakes. They're causing a lot of lung problems.
How does air conditioning harm the lungs?
The air conditioner, although it's a great tool for us, it does cause problems when misused, overused. When you have direct AC, which is very strong, very powerful, that is affecting your body, it's very easy because temperature change is always per viral growth. It can cause a lot of viral infections like a common cold, or if you have any latent viral infections, then they can start springing up. You could have multiple problems and your overall respiratory immunity can drop. And with things like COVID or with other viruses around, I feel having good lung immunity is extremely important.
Home remedies for lung disease.
Home remedies for lung diseases, I feel what we could do is we could take simple oils and put camphor in it. Heat the oil so the camphor will melt and apply this on this entire chest area. That really helps you with the lungs. You could also use steam inhalation, although I don't recommend steam inhalation for people who have sinus problems, but for people who only have lower respiratory tract or lung kind of issues. So steam inhalation with herbs like ajwain or with eucalyptus or with a couple of other herbs, they're very, very useful. So what we also do is, instead of making water-based steam inhalations, we give something called as Dhumapan Vidhi. So in Dhumapan Vidhi, we burn dry powders. Normally when you're steaming and you're using water, it can go into the sinuses and it can actually create more mucus. Lungs probably will get better, but your sinuses might get inflamed. But if you're using Dhumapan Vidhi, which is dry powder, that actually helps the lungs and does not create more sinuses.
Which herbs can be used to treat lung disease?
So when it comes to respiratory diseases, I think tulsi, black pepper, dry ginger powder or even fresh ginger for that matter are very widely used. You can literally make a kadha and have it. The best thing that you can do is use a herb called vasa. It's also called adulsa, and this you have many formulations of it. You can even just take the leaf and use it. This will really help. In terms of diet, I feel that you should avoid cold food. You should avoid food that generally increases cough in the body. You should avoid very heavy to digest kind of foods, dairies. Have things that are a little warm, that are a little that will decrease the cough in the body, a little spicy. They will really help when it comes to lung diseases.
Which kind of exercise help with lung disease?
In terms of how do you strengthen the lungs, so I think pranayam does a great job here. So you should start doing more and more of pranayam. But in pranayam, remember a couple of things. Don't do the fast breathing techniques unless you know exactly what you're doing. Don't hold your breath, and do not do inversions wherein a lot of gas will start moving upwards, towards the lungs. So as long as you avoid these things, you should be okay.
Which Panchkarma treatments can we apply to cure lung disease?
For respiratory diseases, so for example, if the disease is more of an upper respiratory disease, which means the sinuses are affected or your oropharynx is affected, nasopharynx is affected, then Nasya treatment is one of the best treatments that you can do. It will basically just cleanse this entire area of any pathology or any dosha that is bothering it. But when it comes to specifically a lung-based problems, the best treatment you can do is Vaman. Vaman is a emetic kind of a panchakarma wherein we are removing things using emesis or vomiting. So we remove a lot of these doshas. In fact, you'll even see in many cases literally pieces of rubber like toxins are coming out this big that come out of your body, and you just solve these kind of lung problems very easily.
Can chronic lung disease be improved naturally?
Chronic lung diseases like COPD, bronchitis, bronchoectasis have extremely good results in Ayurveda. I feel that people should take Ayurveda as the first line of treatment when it comes to chronic diseases. When it comes to an acute problem, you can use the quick relieving help of other pathies, but I feel when it comes to solving, curing and treating diseases, Ayurveda has extremely good treatments for this. So if you like such kind of videos, if you like such kind of information and you think that they should reach more people, please consider sharing these videos. You could also like and subscribe if you'd want to listen to more such videos. Maybe me talking about different cases, maybe looking at different diseases from a different perspective. Consider doing this. I am Dr. Manaan Gandhi, signing off. Namaste.